Have you ever wondered if you could sublimate on mugs without having a mug press to do that with? Well, if you have, you are in luck because today we are going to walk through how to sublimate on these two different mugs without a mug press. We will cover all of the different products that you will need to make this happen and what we use as our heat source. If you're new here, hello, my name is Sarah. Go ahead, hit that like and subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of the upcoming tutorials on easy sublimation projects. Now, I'm ready to start. Are you ready to start? Let's get going. Here I have two different mugs, and I'm going to start out by just taking a lint roller and cleaning off any little fuzzies or dust and dirt that might have gotten on these. The silver one I purchased at Michael's, I believe. That was one of their sublimation mugs. And this bigger white one here I got from Pro World. Now, Pro World is my go-to place other than Amazon for all my sublimation blanks. And that's exactly what you need to be looking for, is anything that says sublimation on it, you can use as a surface to do this type of thing on. After these are all cleaned off, I am going to grab my prints. Now I use an EcoTank 2800 with Hippo paper and ink to print off all of my sublimation prints. And I got these two files off of Creative Fabrica. These were some 3D flower seamless patterns that then I changed the sizing to and made it so that they fit around these mugs. I'm going to go ahead and grab my ruler and my X-Acto knife and just trim off all of the excess paper because we do not need that to wrap around these mugs. You could also use your paper cutter if you have one of those. Whatever works for you. This was just easier for me. We are going to speed through this process because, as you can see, we are just cutting the paper. So with sublimation, you can do this stuff on so many different things, and I waited way too long to start testing out sublimation, and now I can't seem to get enough of it. Have you been doing this for long, or is this something that you're just starting to think about? I used infusible inks for the longest time, and I still do use it, but I find that you can get so creative in your designs with sublimation that there really is no limit to what you can come up with. Now, after these are all cut out, as you can see, these are a little bit different sizes because one of the mugs is taller than the other. So whenever you are creating something, you want to make sure you go ahead and measure so that you get the right dimensions for your projects. Now, taking the silver glittery mug, I am going to place this in the middle of my print and wrap it around where it meets up to the handle. Now, when I do the white one, I do it a little bit different, which was a lot easier. I don't know why I didn't do it for this one, but I didn't. And then we are going to just line this up and grab some heat resistant tape and start taping this down. You want to make sure that this is as tight as it possibly can be, because with sublimation, you do not want your paper to be loose at all, or it just won't sublimate very well. So go ahead, and as you can see here, I had to grab my tape, and I am going to tape down one end and then wrap it around and kind of press it and hug it to that mug the best that I can with my fingers here, and then grabbing another piece of tape. I am going to just start taping this all down. Now, as I am doing this mug, I am cutting strips of tape as I go and just kind of hanging them off the side of the table. I don't know if anyone else does that, My tape dispenser didn't seem to be working very well, so that is what I was doing. But we are going to tape all of this down the best that we can. And while I was working on this mug, the UPS guy came, which I was super excited about because that had my new tape dispenser in it. So I had to stop for a few minutes and go grab my new tape dispenser so that wrapping up this next mug would be a little bit easier. But go ahead and tape all that paper down really well and then set it aside while we wait to finish wrapping up this one. And as you can see, there's my new tape dispenser, which I highly recommend. This thing works so well and it is so handy. So we are going to flip this mug upside down on the table and then wrap that paper around it so it's more even with the top of the mug. And I probably did not cut this evenly because it's kind of leaning up against that handle, which I should have just taken it off and trimmed it, but you know, sometimes you just kind of go with it. And I am just going to tape this one up as well, like I did the first one, making sure that this paper is pressed down super tight to the mug. And after that is done, we will move on to the next step. If you guys have been here before, thanks for coming back and hanging out with me. I love bringing you guys new tutorials every week with lots of tips and tricks along the way for all your different crafting projects. Give me a comment down below if you've done mugs before, and if so, how did it go? What is your process for heating these up? Now I'm just going to take some butcher paper and cut this down the middle just to wrap around the mugs to protect it from the silicone wraps that I'm going to be using today. I have had it before where I didn't do this and the green kind of bled through the paper and onto the mug, which is no good. Nobody wants any green weird effects on their projects. So go ahead and wrap some butcher paper around this just to protect it. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be super tight. The wrap will do the rest of that for you. Now with these wraps, they come in all different sizes and shapes for different mugs. And all you're going to do is put this together like it's a belt buckle. You're going to press it together until it snaps together in the middle. And it might feel like you're pressing really hard and you might break something, but trust me, just keep going. It will snap together and then your paper is as tight as it could possibly be. We are going to grab the other one here and do the same. And because these mugs are two different sizes, I have two different size silicone wraps here, which, like I said, in the pack I purchased off of Amazon, it had all different shapes and sizes for different types of mugs. And then we are ready to go and head over to our Ninja air fryer. Now, I know what people are saying. Why use an air fryer? Just buy a mug press. Well, I had this one and I never used it, so there we go. Now, I am setting this to 390 and then I'm going to let it heat up. When it says add food, we are ready to add our mugs to this. Now, keep in mind, if you use an air fryer or a convection oven for your crafting projects, you can no longer use that for food. So don't go throw like French fries in this later tonight for your kids. Keep it in your craft room. This, not infusible ink, sorry, this sublimation has fumes and it's kind of toxic, so you don't want food in there. Now I'm going to set the timer for 6 minutes. And I am going to let this go down to 3 minutes, and then I am just going to turn these mugs over. Now, when you open this up, it will be very hot, so make sure you grab something, either your heat-resistant gloves, or I have a set of tongs here that I had handy, I grabbed, and I am just going to flip these things over. just to make sure they don't get any weird burn marks from sitting in one spot for the full 6 minutes. And then we will close the cover and continue cooking these things for 3 more minutes. Now when this is done, we are going to open this up and carefully remove these very hot mugs. And as you can see, I have my heat-resistant glove on this time. And I'm going to grab these and just set them to the side over here on the pressing mat of my heat press. And I'm going to let these cool down, because if you just grab these and open up that wrap and rip everything off, you could get what's called a ghosting effect. And that will just leave like a fuzzy outline, kind of blurred images on your mugs. And nobody wants that. So give this a little bit of time to cool down. And when you are ready, you just take these 2 parts of that buckle and push them together until they pop open. We are going to open up both of these first, and then we will go ahead and start pulling off the butcher paper. This was such an easy and fun process. I know a lot of people think they need to have fancy mug presses, and I do have one. It came with my Better Sub heat press 5-in-1 set that I purchased, but I still just find this a lot easier to use my Ninja. So going now and taking this tape off, which sometimes is the hardest process of this whole thing here. Is if I don't have a little bit of fingernails, it can be a challenge to get this tape off. And we are going to pull the paper off and look at the colors on this mug. Still a little bit warm to the touch, but this 3D effect, I am really liking this on mugs. And I did it on a puzzle previously. If you haven't seen that tutorial, you should go check that one out. I'll link it up above. But I really am liking these 3D effects on certain things. And I thought this would be great on a mug. And I really am liking this. I was planning on giving one of these to my mother on Mother's Day with a few other things. And my 7-year-old right away claimed the big white mug. She thought that was the best thing ever. So I'm glad she likes it. But this glitter one turned out really, really well. I was a little hesitant on how the color would turn out on this darker silver mug, but I am really liking how this turned out. Now, I did notice that on the glitter mug, as you can maybe see on the handle, there's a little white spot there. Some of the glitter is starting to come off already, and I maybe wouldn't do a whole lot of these, but I do like how these turned out, and these flowers just pop right off the mug. So what do you think? Do you think it's worth going out to the thrift store and finding an air fryer so you could start sublimating more things like mugs? Which one of these mugs do you like the best? Let me know in the comments below. And if you're looking for more simple sublimation projects, check out this video that's coming up next.